Why we behave the way we do. Have you ever watched someone and wondered, what's that person doing? Or thought, that person is weird or crazy? Regardless of what context you're in, human behavior often seems confusing, strange, or downright frustrating. More often than not, our thoughts are about other people's behavior, and not so much our own. But on occasion, we do wonder about ourselves. Have you ever thought, what the heck am I doing? Human beings are complicated, and unfortunately, we don't come with a manual. This means we have to figure things out for ourselves. Today, we're going to offer you some answers.
Let's start with what we can observe: people's behavior. Behavior is more than just what we do. It includes our thoughts, feelings, and even our body's responses. Imagine you are a car, and your behavior is represented by the four wheels, with actions and thoughts as the front wheels, and feelings and physiology as the back wheels. As a front-wheel drive car, actions and thoughts are where we have the most direct control, and the back wheels follow the front wheels. The thoughts we have create feelings, and once we feel something, the body automatically responds accordingly. Blushing is a great example of how quickly the body responds to a thought and a feeling.
This connection between actions, thoughts, feelings, and the body is a very important feature. Like the four wheels of a car, actions, thoughts, feelings, and the body all work together. So when one changes, it affects all the others. For example, imagine you have the thought, I'm going to be late. Immediately, you will feel the emotions that go with that thought. Perhaps it's anxiety. Your body will then respond accordingly, flooding your system with chemicals like cortisol and adrenaline that provide energy. Your actions will also match, whether it's to start rushing, talking faster, driving faster, etc.
Now let's move from what people do, their behavior, to why they do it. We can observe people's behavior, but that doesn't tell us why they're behaving a certain way. To understand why, we need to go inside the car to the steering wheel. The steering wheel represents what you want and how you set your direction. When driving, we usually want to go somewhere specific. The human system is the same. Once we know what we want, it becomes specific, not general. Take food, for example. Imagine you're feeling a little hungry and thinking you want food. The very next thought is, what kind of food do I feel like eating? We automatically get specific, and this applies to all our wants.
The range of things we want includes everything, from being with people, doing activities, visiting new locations, getting work done, caring for children, and even something like inner peace. The key is understanding that what we want is always internal, individual, and the motivation for our behavior. This is one of the most important ideas to really grasp.
Most of us have been raised with the opposite idea, that people and other outside influences motivate us and actually control us. It may look like outside forces control us or make us behave, but it's not true. The truth is, we are an internal system, and we behave to satisfy our wants and needs. For example, take stopping at a red light. It looks like the light is controlling us, but is it really? Don't we stop because we want to avoid being hurt or getting a ticket? Those are internal reasons. If traffic lights really did make us stop, the moment the traffic light turned red, all cars would automatically halt.
Let's move now from red lights to people. Can a person make you do something you don't want to do? This is a great question, and if you said yes, I bet you're thinking of situations where someone had the power to enforce a consequence, punishment, or maybe even a threat. But if you really don't want to do something, usually you won't do it. Any parent of a teenager knows how true this is. But there are lots of examples of adults refusing to do something, like not backing down to a bully, or even the extreme example of an adult held at gunpoint, refusing to give up their wallet to a thief. So even with extreme coercion, we can't always get people to do what we want. And even more importantly, what are the consequences if we do?
So, back to the car of you. So far, we have 4 wheels and a steering wheel. But where is the power? The power comes from the engine. And in the human system, the engine is our genetic needs. As a human being, you are uniquely equipped with genetic instructions, both physical and psychological, that have been essential for our survival as a species. Physically, for example, you have the genetic instruction to breathe air, versus fish who have a genetic instruction to breathe in water. Psychologically, our genetic needs include love and connection, a need for value and worth, for freedom, and for joy and learning. These needs are the deepest motivation behind our behavior and ultimately everything we want.
Now let's put it all together. Let's imagine you get into the car of you. As soon as you get in the car, you focus on what you want. So far, so good. Let's imagine you're off to work and want to get there early. As you drive, you start thinking about work and worrying about your upcoming performance review. Before you know it, you have missed your exit. Now you get upset thinking you won't be early and you might even be late. Thinking about being late increases your anxiety and your body responds with more adrenaline. Then you notice the traffic has increased and you get even more frustrated, cursing the slow drivers.
Metaphorically, this is like driving with one wheel off the road. And when this happens, the car is harder to steer. Recognizing this moment is critical. You will either steer back onto the road or lose more control and go further off the road. So, what determines what you'll do? The answer is what you focus on. If your thoughts spiral out of control with worry, your attention will be divided and you will likely make more mistakes. If, on the other hand, you remember what you want and how to come back into balance, you could regain control and steer the car back onto the road.
Worrying about your performance review is what got you off track. In this situation, you've put worrying about the future in front of your original want, which was to get to work early. Changing what you want, getting distracted, or sidetracking usually results in disappointment or worse. This is how people create enormous stress for themselves and sometimes seem to shoot themselves in the foot. To regain balance, you must focus on first things first. The first step is keeping what you want a priority. Your goal was to get to work early. Unfortunately, getting to work early now that you've missed the exit is not under your control. You can't control the other drivers or the flow of traffic, but you can influence how you respond. Focusing on what you have control of is essential. If you relax and focus on driving safely to work, you will come back into balance.
Knowing the mechanics of the car is important, but there's a lot more that's required to be a great driver. To navigate life successfully, we also need to know the rules of the road. The rules of the road are knowing specifically what you want, making sure what you want is under your control, keeping what you want front and center. Take actions that align with what you really want.
We started with the question, why do people behave the way they do? We can now answer this question. People behave to get what they want, and they use behaviors, actions and thoughts primarily, to get them there. When someone's behavior seems strange or confusing, it's often because we don't understand what they truly want. Instead of being judgmental, you can now be curious. I wonder what they are thinking, feeling, or wanting. This mindset of curiosity applies to you and others and will allow you to stay open and compassionate.
The car review is a tool for observing and assessing yourself so you can have inner stability and balance. It's a metaphor to help you remember what you do and don't have control of, and is designed to help you successfully navigate the road of life despite the many potholes you'll encounter. Being in control of yourself is an extremely empowering and exhilarating feeling, and something we all desire. So the question is, are you staying in the driver's seat, taking the wheel, and being in effective control of your life?